Hey everybody, Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Laurel Blanchard here with your Wednesday evening forecast. It is a busy day in the weather world, so we're going to kind of jump right into things. Of course, we'll get to our question of the day, but in today's show, we are of course talking about our fire weather risk that we have across the state. It's dry, it's going to be slowly warming up, and it's also going to be windy as well. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit more even about the rain that we could be seeing coming up a little bit later on this week. And then also we have a huge tropic update that we're going to be starting off our show with. But first and foremost, I know that we do love our question of the day, especially on our Facebook page. We have a couple folks watching in from there. So definitely write in, let us know where you're watching from, say hello, and answer our question of the day today. I'm excited about this one because I do have a little bit of a surprise for everybody coming up a little bit later on. So we'll take a look at that in a second. But taking a look at our question of the day of today, it is dry out there, and we are kind of seeing the two weather extremes across the country right now. Here in Florida, it is bone dry. We have not seen a good soaking of rain in quite a while, so that is definitely a cause for concern. But we are going to slowly start to see our rain chances start to come back up just a little bit. So we do have some rain coming up by the end of the week. But taking a look up north, there is over 3 feet of snow that just fell in the past couple days in Rhode Island, areas across Massachusetts. They are towering now over 3 feet of snow just because of all the snowstorms that have kind of been piggybacking on top of each other. So my mom actually gave me a good idea for this question of the day. So let us know in the comments. I'm excited about this one. Do you have any creative hobbies? And again, stick around for the end of the show. Not only will I show your comments coming up a little bit later on in the newscast, but I also do have a little bit of a surprise for everybody, so just make sure, again, you tune in for the end of our stream because I have a little bit of a surprise and I think y'all will like it. All right, so as we do take a look, let's actually start off with our big tropics news today. So as I kind of get resettled here, but let us know in the comments on YouTube and Facebook, do you have any creative hobbies that you would like to share with us? We would love to see them. All right, so our hurricane season is over, but now we are in the countdown. We are 100 days out, or just under 100 days out from the next hurricane season, which starts on June 1st. So in this period of time where we're kind of in between seasons, National Hurricane Center is not just sitting back and relaxing. They are still making sure that they go through the data of all the past year's hurricane season and goes through each individual named storm and kind of does a post-season review of each storm and the data that came from each storm. So we are starting off with a Melissa update. So before we even get into anything, this is not an active hurricane. This was a hurricane that happened last October. So as we see right here, a huge update with Melissa is that Melissa was actually upgraded. So of course, Melissa is still a Category 5 storm. This was from October 28th, the day that Hurricane Melissa made landfall in Jamaica, just near Cape Hope. So near the southeastern shores of Jamaica, it slammed the coast with over 180 mile per hour winds. So data at the time suggested that when Melissa was making landfall, or the peak wind speed of Melissa, they expected it was about 185 miles per hour, which that's still an extremely strong storm. But they went through the data again, and they went through the real-time data, like as data was coming in, and they realized that this storm was stronger than what they originally expected. So they upgraded it so that the peak wind speed was 190 miles per hour, which again is stronger than what the real-time data suggested. And this is the strongest and tied with the strongest hurricane with wind speeds, measured by wind speeds, on record. So back in 1980, there was Hurricane Allen. Allen did not make landfall, but it was in the 1980s, and it was the strongest hurricane in the Atlantic Basin by wind speed, and now this is also tied with Melissa as of tonight. So that is a huge update in the tropics world. And again, I know that we're kind of pushing away tropics season for another 100 or 90 something days, but definitely something to still mention, just because Melissa's strength was so strong of a storm, not only in wind speeds, in size, in pressure. This storm was a total buzzsaw to Jamaica, into Cuba, and even into the Bahamas, where it made a landfall for the third time. So this storm was a monster for sure. And with this update that just happened today, it just continued to rattle the record books for sure. So to even just dig into a little bit deeper of Melissa, now that this update came up and now that those records have been tied, Melissa is historic, fortunately for all the wrong reasons. Peak wind, 190 miles per hour. We kind of talked about that. Now upgraded, is tied with Hurricane Allen from 1980. The landfall wind is now tied with the strongest as well. It made landfall with 135 mile per hour winds, which tied the 1935 Labor Day hurricane that impacted the Florida Keys. And that is also tied with the highest wind at landfall. And then also, this actually made headlines as Melissa was happening. When the hurricane hunters were actually in Melissa, they dropped these dropsondes, and dropsondes measure the wind speed at different levels of the hurricane. And so the dropsonde measured a 252 mile per hour gust. So crazy wind associated with this. So that's something that we were really keeping an eye on. So if winds gusted to 252, that is one of the strongest dropsondes to ever be recorded. So that is something that really happened in real time as we were seeing this happen. So, and as we were actively watching Melissa this time last fall. So to kind of re-look at Melissa, because again, this is a crazy storm. So the millibars and how low the pressure dropped within this system, the lowest central pressure is tied at number 3. So this is Wilma in 2005 was 822 millibars at its lowest and peak strength. Gilbert was 888 millibars, and then Labor Day 1935, which is the one that impacted the Florida Keys, and Melissa were both tied at 892 millibars. So that just proves that this was a strong low pressure system, and now is even stronger because of those wind speeds. So again, this is the strongest winds at landfall. And this is since hurricanes have been kind of named and categorized since the 1850s. And Melissa, in 2025, had the strongest land winds at landfall at 185 miles per hour. Dorian also ties that, as well as the Labor Day hurricane in 1935. So top 3 for sure. So that is just wild that we are seeing that, taking a look just at last year. So again, seeing a couple people writing in. This is a update from Melissa, which was back in October. The National Hurricane Center went through all of the data and realized that this storm was possibly even stronger than what the data was taking in. So as we kind of wrap this up, Melissa was strong, and it possibly got even stronger, taking a look at the data after the fact from the National Hurricane Center. So Fox Local, we are going to send you to a quick break. Stick with us for about 2 minutes. If you are live with us on Facebook and YouTube, answer our question of the day. Question of the day today is, looks like we're not fully on YouTube. It looks like we're just on Facebook today. If you are on Facebook with us, let us know if you have any creative hobbies, and stick with us through the end of the stream, because I do have a little surprise for everyone, thanks to my mom on this one. All right, so crazy day, especially in the weather world, because again, not only did we have this update, but our fire weather risk is going to be really amped up as we take a look at the day tomorrow. And we have Dominic writing in, doesn't look like a fire weather report on February 25th, 2026. Yes, we're getting there, but we did need to start with this tropics forecast. So we are going to be getting into the fire weather forecast as soon as our Fox Local friends come back, because of course there is a huge fire happening in the Everglades right now. We'll talk about that straight off the bat. And of course, we could be even seeing some of the smoke from that fire here across Orlando, which is crazy. So we'll take a look at that coming up in a little bit, but we'll get there, of course, Dominic, I promise. And just a couple of people saying hello in Facebook. So it is a little bit too early to kind of figure out what's going to be happening this year for hurricanes, but fingers crossed we do not have a storm as powerful as we did with Melissa. And of course, hoping for a very quiet season overall. Taking a look at the hurricane season ahead, we are already starting to put together our hurricane special, which should come out probably around May. So definitely tune in for that. Keep an eye on updates for that. And of course, as we get closer to hurricane season, when we start to see those updates come out from the National Hurricane Center, NOAA, as well as Colorado State University, we will let you know, and we'll definitely do a big deep dive on all of those initial forecasts for the hurricane season ahead. All right, folks, we are going to be welcoming in our Fox local friends coming up in a second. But again, I'm going to pop up our question of the day for just a moment is, do you have any creative hobbies? Let us know in the Facebook comments today what you're thinking. All right, Dominic, this is now getting into what you're looking for as we welcome back our Fox local friends. Hi, everybody. So this is our question of the day. If you feel free to watch us in on Facebook, definitely write in your comments there. But one of the main titles in our stream today was the fire weather, and that's going to be dedicated to our next segment right here. We talked about the tropics forecast, but now let's talk about the fire weather risk. So here is the fire that's happening currently down in the Everglades. This is an Everglades city, and all of this smoke, because we have all that warm air coming up from the south, it's kind of just riding the wind, and we see that smoke kind of just settling, and we see it being dragged across areas across Port St. Lucie, even over to Jupiter, up to Melbourne, and we could be even seeing some of that heavy, thick smoke make its way into areas across areas in Titusville and even your Daytona and New Smyrna Beach as we take a look a little bit later on this afternoon. So this is our fire weather risk right now. It is high, and it's going to get higher tomorrow, which is why we do have our Fox 35 Storm Team Alert Day for tomorrow as well. But again, this fire that's way in South Florida, southwestern Florida, the smoke of the 25,000 acres that is currently being burned and unfortunately has not been too much contained, the smoke from that is going to be making its way up towards the Space Coast. So heads up, you may feel a little bit dry, your nose, your lungs may be a little bit irritated, so just a heads up for that. It might be a little bit rough there. But yeah, some of that thick smoke could be in the Space Coast. So here's the latest. The Collier County fire, this is in the Big Cypress National Preserve near Everglades City. 0% contained, and over 25,000 acres have been burned, and there is a lot of smoke in the air. And let me see if our Wexmet, before we continue. So this is one of the parts of the reason why, not only just because of the really gusty winds, but the very dry air as well as the worsening drought. That's why we're calling for a storm team alert tomorrow. But I did just look up to see our cameras, and let me pull in our Wexmet cameras before I totally get sidetracked. Okay, so this is looking at I-75. This is the southbound lane and looking southwest, so you can just see how hazy it is out there. And we can also see in this next one, this is just that smoke. This is I-75 mile marker 78.2. This is going northbound, and you can just see how hazy it is. And even still, some of that fire actually shut down areas across Alligator Alley earlier on today. So it was just really, really not only close to the road, but it was just so smoky out there. So just a heads up, if you do have any respiratory conditions, you might want to limit your time outside until this fire is contained, because we're going to be seeing that smoke areas south of Orlando, southeast of Orlando, up to the Space Coast as we head through the next couple of days. So with the gusty winds that we're expecting tomorrow, the worsening drought that we are seeing tomorrow as well, and the very dry air, as will really increase our fire threat as we head through the next couple of days. Those active fires right now could get even more big and get even bigger and a little bit more out of control because of these factors, which is why we're calling Thursday a Storm Team Alert day for the fire danger that's out there. And there's a couple of factors that we look at. Of course, the gusty wind. We're seeing that out there right now. It's breezy. And the humidity, under 35%. We're right at about 20, 25 right now. So it is dry out there. And I don't know if you can hear it, but my voice is just even a little bit hoarse because of it. And we have dry fuels out there for sure. It is dry. My poor grass is completely crusted. And it's just because of the recent freezes as well. We have a lot of dead plants out there. So that dry weather is just settling in because of these rigid cold snaps. And then we can also just continue to see that very dry ground also play a factor. But it's because of the recent freezes that we have been really amping up that drought threat over the past couple of days. So it's because of that that we are seeing 10 fires overall that are over 100 acres. Some of these have been contained, especially the ones near Orlando, but this is kind of since the season have started so far, there have been over 10 fires that have sparked across Orlando and sparked across Florida that have burned over 100 acres. So that is something that we're watching. But as we take a look at the day tomorrow, it's still going to be gusty, which is going to allow some of these active fires to possibly even get bigger because we have these gusty winds out there and what we're going to be expecting, especially near Daytona Beach. So one thing that you can do, or a few things that you can do, is just make sure that you're not adding to this threat. So avoid burning of any time. Also, keep vehicles off of dry grass. Properly dispose of cigarettes, as well as report fires if you do see one to any local authorities. So that's really what we're just keeping an eye on as we head through the next couple of days. But I do have some good news. We are going to be seeing some rain on the way, but we'll take a quick look at that and we'll get into a little bit more detail on that coming up in a second. But our rain chances over the next couple of days are looking a little bit like this. So we see our rain chances amp up to about 40% on Friday, amp up to about 60% on Saturday, and then about 20% on Sunday. So we kind of go a little bit up and down, but this is kind of the first more widespread rain chance that we've seen since Daytona, which has been at the beginning of the month. So it has been a solid 2 going on 3 weeks. Yeah, 2 going on 3 weeks now that we have been seeing this dry and like oppressively dry weather, but that wasn't after a couple cold snaps later. So it was really just that one after another kind of thing that was just really tough, not only just on the ground and the plants drying those out, but it's also going to be really tough on fire officials trying to keep anything that sparks under control, especially when we see fires that pick up really quickly and then slowly start to get under control because of the fire officials that are out there. All right, Fox Local, we are going to send you to break in a few minutes. So we will talk about a little bit more about kind of what we're going to be for tonight through the rest of the week, and we'll talk a little bit more about the timing of the rain, especially on Friday and Saturday after we come back from the break. So again, here are your rain chances, and we'll also take a look at your 7-day coming up after the break as well. But Friday, seeing that more scattered chance of rain. Not everyone is going to be seeing rain, but on Saturday, folks definitely have a lot more of a likely chance seeing that rain as we take a look ahead towards Saturday. So if you do have any plans Saturday, definitely not a washout, but I would definitely keep the umbrella, the rain jacket handy for sure, because it definitely will be on the soggy side for some, but much needed rain for sure as we take a look ahead to our Saturday. All right, Fox Local, we will send you to a quick break. Stick with us for 2 minutes, and if you're hanging with us on Facebook, thanks for sticking around with us. We'll take a look at that in a second, but let us know where you're watching from. If you are watching in our Facebook comments, let us know where you're watching from on top of what we're looking at for our question of the day today. It doesn't look like I missed any comments. So we'll take a look at your comments and what your creative hobbies are. So I'll actually pop up our question of the day there now. Here we go. So yeah, let us know if you have any creative hobbies, and also let us know where you're watching from. If I have anyone watching from New England, hope you guys are staying warm. Hope you guys are staying toasty up there, because, whew, boy, was that a lot of snow from that past snowstorm. My parents, they live in South Shore, Massachusetts, and actually, we'll just do this. Give me 1 second. now that we're kind of in Laurel story time, couple of minutes. So a little bit of context. So in my backyard, we have a 8-foot fence. And so just keep that in mind when I show this video. The dogs in my backyard, so we have my mom and dad have 2 labs, and they're probably about 60 pounds. They look like dolphins going through the snow. And let me see if I can find that video. Here we go. So again, 8-foot fence, and this fence looks easily 4 feet tall when we see that snow. And again, they look like little dolphins, and of course they are running over a pool cover right there. So not necessarily the most ideal, but like that's how high the snow is, and some of the snow drifts were in my backyard back home. So that is what we were seeing there. Again, thanks Mom, I appreciate that. And if you haven't checked on my Facebook page, Providence, Rhode Island, 37.5 inches of snow, which completely shattered the blizzard of 78 record by over 9 inches, which is crazy. And my mom actually, fun fact, grew up in the same house that I grew up in. And when she was going through the blizzard of 78, she was actually able to jump off of that back deck that we have out there. And she was able to just land in the snow because it was just so high, and that's exactly what they're seeing up there right now. So if anyone is watching from New England, stay warm, stay safe. I know a lot of folks were without power the past couple of days, so hopefully that power is back on, and kids head back to school soon, because I know my mom is on day 3 of having no school when she works at the public school system, and she is definitely bored out of your mind. So Mom, if you're watching, hi, hope you're staying active out there, especially, and hopefully not driving yourself absolutely insane. Okay, so Fox local friends, welcome back. Let's talk about our rain chances over the next couple of days, because of course we talked about our fire threat. So let's talk a little bit more about our rain chances that we have coming in, because this is our first solid chance of seeing rain that we have seen in a while. So here's Thursday, maybe some more clouds, especially down by Melbourne, but it's Friday, we could be seeing a couple more of those scattered showers. So especially later on in the evening, this is 9:30 p.m., starting to see this cold front push on through. Mostly cloudy skies for your Friday. And then we see right here, those rain chances amp up as we take a look at Saturday. So here's Saturday morning, seeing from Palm Coast all the way down to Tampa, pretty much, seeing those scattered showers, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder. Saturday, 9 a.m., seeing more of those rumbles of thunder, most likely especially towards Palm Coast and Gainesville. As of right now, no severe weather is expected, but we could be seeing the possibility of some thunderstorms as we take a look Saturday, 1 p.m., as these storms are kind of like picking up, dying down, kind of feeding off the energy brought in by this cold front. And then taking a look Sunday, we see those little bit of that cooler air move on in, mostly cloudy skies to start your Sunday. But as of right now, Sunday looks dry. So that's kind of what we're seeing for the timing of everything, taking a look ahead towards this weekend. So I'm going to pop up our 7-day forecast. I'll pop this up full. So if you do have any, oh, hi Mom, I'm watching in on Facebook. Actually, Mom, stay tuned for a second if you can. So let me pop up our 7-day forecast real quick. Again, if you do have any creative hobbies, let us know in our Facebook comments. And here's your 7-day forecast. Because again, tomorrow we do have that fire weather risk. Not only do we have dry air moving in, we're seeing those temperatures warmer, but warmer doesn't necessarily mean drier. That dry air coming in from the south, that's what's going to be amping up not only our fire weather chances, but because of the wind that's associated with it, that's why we have our storm team alert for tomorrow. Friday, scattered chances of some forecasts, and then also taking a look at Saturday, looking at a 60% chance of on and off thunderstorms throughout the day. It's not like what we were going to see when we had that line and that distinct line move through with Daytona, but it is going to be more on the scattered, broken side, with storms kind of popping up and dying down as we head through your Saturday. A couple of chances in the morning, couple more chances in the afternoon, so we're just going to need to watch the radar and stay tuned on that one. But as of right now, no severe weather is expected, but that could change in the next couple of days. Taking a look ahead to Sunday, maybe a lingering sprinkle, but then we're back in the 80-degree weather. Taking a look Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. So that's kind of what we're looking at as we take a look ahead through the next couple of days. And I'm going to pop myself up full for this one. Actually, never mind. I'll do the 2-box. So if anyone does want to see their rain chances, especially if they have plans coming up this weekend. Not a total washout, but I'd keep an eye on the forecast, especially on Saturday, if you do have any plans. So we are seeing a couple people writing in on Facebook. Looks like we have 2 folks writing in. William is saying that he likes going out with friends. That's his creative hobby. Dan Potter saying that they likes taking pictures and painting. And looks like a couple people, Dan also writing in saying painting and taking pictures. And it looks like that's all we have. So, and thanks, Mom. I appreciate it again. When I mentioned that folks from up home are still without power, if anyone is familiar with the South Shore, south of Boston area, Duxbury still does not have power, but Norwell does have power back on as of yesterday. So going to our question of the day, and again, Mom, if you're watching, thanks to you for this inspiration. With my mom getting through all of the snow that she has been not only playing around with her fantastic AI skills, but she also has a Cricut machine. And if you don't know what that is, you can make stickers, you can make a whole bunch of stuff. And she made the Storm Team our own personalized stickers. And then she not only did that, but she also made a honey sticker as well. So, very cute. Thanks, Mom. Much appreciated. And personally, my favorite one, though, is the I Love Weather and the I Love Honey one. So I got these a couple days ago, and yeah, she made one for not only me, but the rest of the Storm Team as well. So thanks, Mom. Much appreciated. But that's our creative hobby that my mom has right there. I like to crochet. I've been crocheting for a little while. I'm not really good at it, but I do like to make blankets and stuff. So that is my hobby that I've been trying to keep up with for sure. So again, thanks, Mom. As much as I know that you're miserable right now, this is really cute, and I'm glad you're honing in your creative hobbies that you have while you're stuck in snow for the next couple of days. All right, folks, we are wrapping up here. Thank you so much for watching. We will be on the air coming up within the next couple of minutes. Marlisa Goldsmith has you for the 407, so tune in for that. And then, of course, we have you back up coming up at 5 and 6, and also coming up at 8 tonight as well. So stay tuned, and stay tuned for the local news coming up after the break. But we will be right here, back here, same time tomorrow from 3:30 to 4 o'clock as we head into your Thursday. All right, folks, have a good one. Stay safe out there. And we'll see you bright and early tomorrow.